Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm an alcoholic. And I'm proud of it because of the 25 million alcoholics in the US, less than 5% of us recover. It took me a long time to admit I had a problem, but after that, finding meetings was easy. But it didn't matter because it was impossible to find the meetings that actually helped me recover. And I wanted to build something that helped the millions and millions of alcoholics and addicts like us solve this problem. So that's why we created Addicts. And here's how it works. Sign up is obviously optional because of the anonymity concern. And we go to the map, and I see all the nearest NA meetings in red and AA meetings in blue. I know the ones that are most recent are happening soon because of the clock icon. And that's great. But I know that I want to go to an AA women's meeting later tonight. So I search for that and go back to the map, and I see only the meetings I need to see. The one at the bottom, I'll check that out, and it's 2.4 miles away, but it's at a church, and I'm not really into that. So I check the other one, Dark Secrets. It's my kind of meeting. I'll go to that. But I'm here with Matt. Matt's not a lady, and Matt's an NA. So his sponsor back in Brooklyn told us about this really awesome meditation meeting. He doesn't remember the name. It was a cool name. It had a lot of young people, had snacks, and it was on a Thursday. So we go to the list and search for that. We see Clean and Serene or Meditation Generation. Pretty sure it was the latter. Let's check out the details. Okay, it's got everything we need, and all these details were impossible to find until now. Comments? Robert Downey Jr., he loves this meeting. He comes every time he visits from LA, and not only do I love Iron Man, but I love his recovery. We like to think of this like Yelp, but for meetings. I love Yelp, but worst that happens with a bad restaurant is I get food poisoning. Worst that happens with a bad meeting is I never come back, and I might never recover, or worse. So we bookmark it to remember it for later. Awesome. This is the first step to getting to the meetings that really help us recover. Solidarity and sobriety is one of the most important things. But we want to take this one step further and bring the offline experience online. Here's my member profile. I put all the information I would want my community to know about me. So I'm 24, I live in Brooklyn. I like pot, pills, alcohol, sex, just a little too much. My rock bottom, when I got fired from my job at the tech lab in college for stealing external hard drives to pay for my habit. Can't do that anymore. My moment of clarity was when I realized no one wanted to party with me, and I was just a major disappointment. Matt looks at my profile. That resonates with him. And, all right, let's go back. And it resonates with him. And did the server crash, maybe, I think? I'm sorry.
No worries. Just
okay.
reboot.
So that resonates with him, and he saw from our interests that we're both programmers, and we both love to bake, but the good kind of bake. So I really want to show you guys the last page, but all right.
Big round of applause while he reboots the server.
Okay, cool.
These are live demos. You're doing awesome.
Control K, and then one up. Okay, cool. All right, so.
This is a live demo.
Yeah. All right, so it should be back now, running. Okay, cool. So click on that button. Up. No, it's that. The one right below it, I think. No, the purple one. Up. Yeah. Okay, cool. So as I said, solidarity and sobriety is super important, but so is self-awareness. All of us here know that rewarding people for good behavior is a great motivator for change. And here, I have my daily dose of challenges that help me get a routine in my sobriety, like fill in the blanks, picture prompt. I see yesterday I did a word choice. My idea of success is most defined by keeping a schedule, sobriety, and focusing on today. This way, I can share it with my community, look back, see my progress, and have a sense of accomplishment no matter what happens. So why are we here? First and foremost, to get the word out. If you know anyone in healthcare, anyone who is an addict or might be, please tell them. We want to help as many people like us. Second, it's just me and Matt with an MVP. Code is like less than 8 weeks old. We want to get a great crack team to help us grow this as fast as possible and as awesome as possible, especially some designers to help us change the way people view and experience recovery. And also, we're not just a do-good app, we're a do-good business. $460 billion is what addiction costs the US annually. And the recovery industry, it's $15 billion a year, and it's projected to double within the next year. So we want to revolutionize recovery. It hasn't changed much since 1937, and we want you to join us. So that's it.
Awesome. And by the way, all of that with a server crash in the middle. Great job of rebooting the server. It's the first time somebody rebooted their server and finished the presentation on time. One big round of applause for Matthew and driving. That was awesome. Wow. So, you know, obviously we have a range of projects here. This is one of those 8-week projects that we saw and said, God, this has got momentum. Questions from our panel?
Sam, I think this is awesome. Congratulations.
I think you're awesome.
Content, where's that coming from? Is it going to be community generated? Are you going to sort of reach out to, I mean, how will we populate the what's the data source?
Definitely community generated is a good one, but from the start, it would have to be us and the team that we assemble.
Okay.
This data exists where now? Is it all in one source?
The meeting data?
Yeah.
Yeah, we scraped it, and right now we have NA, AA, GA, which is gambling, and OA, but we want to focus on substance first before we branch out to...
But is it in one data source, or is it, when you explained this to me previously, it's on many different state and local levels, or is it in one place? Yeah.
Yeah, the data is pretty fragmented right now. The meeting data is all over the place at state, local, national, and international level. So what we have, we've scraped some of this data, and we want to scrape the data and try to keep up with that, but we want to allow our community to update the data as well to keep it fresh, because even those sources, even the local sources, are not up to date.
Nobody has ever created a single database of this information.
Well, no, there is a single database, but the main differentiation is that all you know about it is the time, the location, and there's no other input. Like, for me, I loved snacks, coffee, and young people meeting. And it was impossible to find. There's so many times where I haphazardly ended up at, 5 people. No one was really there that I related to. And that's what we're trying to do, is get people to understand where they are.
Great idea. How would you make money?
We were thinking lead generation. First of all, recovery is 25,000 minimum, can go up to hundreds of thousands. We also want to work with recovery centers to help them manage their patients.
So I think, first of all, amazing job of being able to not allow your addiction to define you, but for you to define yourself. I think that's an amazing job. The second thing is, who cares about making money?
Yeah,
go do this.
thank you.
Go do this because you're passionate about it and you love it. And good people will find other good people who will fund it. And I bet you there are people in this room who will come up to you afterwards and say, let's talk. The third thing I think is, are you building online support groups? So if I happen to meet you and we're at the same center and you say, hey, download this app, let's be friends, and if I'm ever having a down day, I can literally just push a button and say help, and you know my GPS location, you know my phone number, you can text me, you can start interacting with me, and you can help me get out from the bottom and rise up to where you are if you're in a good position. Are you doing that? Is that on the roadmap?
Yeah, definitely it's on the road. Like, I got a lot of inspiration from OkCupid. You can just put your broadcast and get anyone. I was thinking the same thing. It's really hard to, get the support you need. So.
Yeah, I think I think we are all kind of honing in the data sources. It's going to be really, really hard and be probably a long process to get enough data, consistently accurate data in the system. I think what I love about this is that ability to have the online community, as you were saying. And I think there is probably a lot of power you haven't necessarily explored there yet with being able to have the one-on-one interactions with people when you do need those challenges. There's a guy here, Matt Waller, you should talk to, who's a behavioral psychologist, could help a lot with honing how you actually do that.
Cool.
Which would be great.
Awesome.
Yeah, talking about the community bringing data to our app.
Treatment.
Yeah, one idea was to allow people to create treatment plans. Like our daily dose are activities that we're going to create to start with, but it'd be great if my sponsor could share with me his treatment plan. Like, these are the things I did to get clean and stay clean. That's how it works in the rooms, in the analog world, and we want to bring that all into the digital world, as a layer on top of this already great program.
Yeah, it seems like,
mean, you're sort of scratching the surface here. It sounds like this is a system that hasn't, it's still analog. And there's probably a lot of different opportunities you get into there. I mean, I would think there's, in a way, a whole kind of CRM system that's needed for sponsors to work with people to, you know, say, I'm going to show up today at the meeting, and then if you didn't show up, for people to follow you. Like, there's probably a lot of interaction between you and this, and sort of the centers and the groups, if you can kind of build it. I mean, there's a lot there. So, you know, it's great that you're starting this, and you'll probably find a lot more as you kind of dig in.
And do you think starting as the Yelp of meetings is a great starting point, Dave?
I think like Stephen talked about, I mean, you need the data source. Like, so you got to start somewhere, and I think, you know, yeah, I think it's as good a place to start anyway, because you've got to aggregate the users and the data. But I think probably if you're going to build it into a business, my guess is the business is about building those systems. So like, I don't think this is not an ad-supported model, right?
Right.
No, that's our secret plan. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, the lead generation for somebody going to recovery might be a couple of $100 per lead for lead gen.
Oh,
but yeah.
even more than that.
More than that, wow.
Sure.
Right.
I think licensing this to treatment centers,
Ask
actually,
Lindsay
the app,
Lohan, she'll
the
tell you.
one-to-one app, the kind of pairing app, I think is, to me, more interesting than the Yelp of meetings. I just think that's going to be so hard to get right and accurate.
The pairing,
the
social
ability to
app?
have your kind of online sponsor, or the kind of OkCupid, I
Right.
think licensing that to treatment centers, having them push this out
Definitely,
as
yeah.
their, to me, that seems like a much more sustainable.
Uber for sponsors?
Huh?
Uber for sponsors?
Who would work for sponsors?
Uber.
Oh, Uber for sponsors.
For sponsors.
Right.
Like, seriously, like,
Uber
I
for
am in
spon-
trouble.
Oh, yeah,
you click it,
that kind of sponsor,
And
right.
a sponsor comes to you and says, hey, let's sit and have a coffee.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
I think the communication platform here is the way more interesting piece, and I think you can go and find Bing might be able to help you with normalizing data. Maybe Google would be willing to look at it. I mean, I think the communication platform here is the exciting thing. That's the thing that I encourage you to just go after, and it'll multiply on its own.
Cool. David, any thoughts?
Nothing to add.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I actually think I'm going to disagree with some of the judges. I think the Yelp piece is so brilliant because people are so familiar with Yelp that when they get into the app, they're just going to instantly do it. And because it's hard to get that data normalized, you're not going to have a competitor for years. I mean, you could just go after the top 5 cities and instantly have something that's of tremendous value and then add the communication piece as each city hits scale. Just like Yelp rolled out from San Francisco to LA to New York, you just get a perfect city by city.
I think the risk of being wrong, having a wrong meeting time or a bad meeting, it's not there. I don't know, but I'm assuming if you were scheduled to go to a meeting on a Thursday and then you get there and it's not happening, that's a problem. And I just think the risk you have of having that data is high. I don't like that.
Yeah.
It feels like a good time. It feels like a great time for your company. I mean, people now expect to be able to find this kind of information, and it's something that's shocking now when I can't find this in an iPhone app. And so
and like you're pinching in Safari to try to find it and looking on like some old church's website. Like, oh my God.
And we look at it in the really long term is that the kids who are growing up now, who aren't even yet using but will become addicts, they live in a world where Yelp is ubiquitous. So if this recovery doesn't meet that challenge, then things are going to be even worse in the future.
Good job.
Okay, well done. Big round of applause. And let's welcome Sanform. Yeah, wow, crowd favorite. Sanform.